The surprise visit, it seems to be paying almost immediate dividends.
So this is going to seriously advance Tesla from an FSD perspective.
The holy grail within the auto industry has long been monthly subscription, that revenue that you can bring in every month.
So there's lots and lots of competition, Elon Musk, here in the market. He sees it, but he believes, obviously, his FSD system is a game changer.
They're looking for the greatest good to society. It's saving lives.
Look, plenty of people shorted the stock, betting that they could finally break the darn thing. They failed.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Tesla stock is down in the pre-market a little over 2%. It must be tired. Sitting at 189.60. For the week, Tesla stock is up over 33.5%, but still has a long way to go if it's trying to reclaim those losses since the beginning of January. Year to date, still down almost 25%. Were you buying shares at sub $150 per share? I know I was.
Mr. Musk is in China, is that right?
Apparently, this was a surprise. According to these reports, though, we've gotten now from the surprise visit, it seems to be paying almost immediate dividends as he is getting rewarded. I mean, we're seeing in pre-market this morning, but for his efforts, he did receive this official approval from Beijing for their advanced driver assistance features in their cars, according to the Wall Street Journal. And it's a pretty big deal. And again, something that we've been waiting for. I was reading the commentary out of Wedbush's Dan Ives this morning that has long been a huge fan of FSD and said this is a watershed moment for Tesla's valuation, as so much of its value right now hinges on FSD and autonomy, as well as the robo-taxi rollout in August. But the key missing piece of the puzzle, in his opinion, was everything in China, which now appears to be on this doorstep. The Chinese government did tell Tesla they've tentatively approved these plans for FSD features. And we also know that they also have a major partnership now with Baidu.
How big a deal do you think this could be?
It's a watershed moment. I mean, this is 3 years in the making that Tesla has been trying to get into China from an FSD perspective. And this unlocks a golden opportunity, not just for Tesla in China, but I think globally, it's a game changer, in my opinion.
That's what I wanted your view on. Okay, Dan, so China's one thing. What does it mean for the United States and the same thing?
It's important because it's also a shot across the bow, shows what's happening in China, and from a miles run perspective, so from a data perspective, China, that's the golden goose. So this is going to seriously advance Tesla from an FSD perspective, and Musk knew that. That's why he did this trip. It was obviously a surprise one, and I think it's going to come as a surprise in a good way to investors. Long time in the making. It's a trophy case moment for Musk. Getting back on that plane, come back from Beijing.
All right, once again, Dan Ives saying a whole lot of nothing. He's excited, that much is for sure, but what does it really mean? For one, AI has turned a corner here in North America with the version 12 of FSD Supervised. After the free trial and then significantly dropping the price, the adoption rate has probably gotten significantly better. I don't know exactly by how much, but I do know the miles driven on FSD have exploded. What, pray tell, do you think will happen when about 33% of Tesla's vehicles in China are allowed to upgrade to FSD? It'll be a double-edged success. I mean, you'll be able to collect massive amounts of data for your neural nets while unlocking some of that hidden margin inside those vehicles in China. And just like Canada's roadways are going to benefit from the progress in the United States, don't be surprised when you start to see Korean Teslas getting FSD, Japanese Tesla's getting FSD, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of money to be made for sure, but long term, in the completion of FSD as a general autonomy, this is a no-brainer, and will probably lead to more money in the future.
Tesla up 15% today, more than 15% today, more than 35% in the last week. This latest gain fueled by Elon Musk's surprise visit to China and a deal to get approval for full self-driving in that region. Eunice Yoon covering the China side of this story, Philipo, on what it means for Tesla. Eunice, please give us a sense of what we know about this deal so far.
Well, Leslie, these are the three main takeaways so far. First, after Musk visited with the Chinese premier, Tesla flagged that Beijing deemed it compliant with the country's new data security regulations. This, as a result, the statement said that local governments that had restricted where Tesla cars were allowed to go are lifting those restrictions. Second, official media Tsla said that its reporter confirmed with China Tesla that its full self-driving software could be launched in China in what they said as, quote, soon. And finally, a source close to the matter told CNBC that Baidu, the tech giant here, would partner with Tesla on lane-level navigation and mapping services. Now, we're still waiting, though, to see whether or not reports that Musk is looking to get approval for the data to be transferred to overseas. We're still waiting to see whether or not those reports become confirmed.
Let's turn now to Phil LeBeau. Phil, how important is full self-driving to the future of Tesla, not just in China, but in the United States and globally?
It's huge, Tyler, because the holy grail within the auto industry has long been monthly subscription, that revenue that you can bring in every month. It's not just the one-time sale of the vehicle. It's how much you can get people to pay you month after month after month for a particular service.
Premium connectivity, insurance, FSD. Then think about it. Once the FSD is complete, you're able to sit in the backseat along with any other entertainment. In-app purchases from the car. From an infotainment perspective, this gets ridiculous.
And full self-driving has huge potential in that area. When you look at full self-driving, even though the price has come down considerably from where it was a year or two ago, right now, and we're just looking at the U.S. price here, you can buy it in full for $8,000, or you can do a monthly subscription of $99 a month, but the take rate is unclear. There have been some like Ben Callow at Baird who has said, look, I think it's about 10% of the Tesla customers who actually buy full self-driving technology or do the subscription, but we've never seen any kind of disclosure from Tesla.
You gotta use the context clues, which is the miles driven on FSD. Now, granted, those that have FSD, like myself, is driving the vehicle a little bit more than they probably should. But while the take rate remains unclear, use the context clues.
Full self-driving has been bought, according to the company, and this was in a regulatory filing earlier this year, by approximately 400,000 Tesla owners. Now, that's all time. We don't know how many of those people bought it, then said, I don't want it anymore. Then they sold their vehicle or their monthly subscribers. That kind of granularity is not clear, so we don't know what type of revenue Tesla gets from its full self-driving software. But Elon Musk said on the conference call last week when they had their quarterly results, he believes that the growth potential when it comes for full self-driving, it can grow overseas. And yes, there are markets in Europe that have full self-driving technology, but he believes it can grow rapidly in other markets. And obviously, China would be a huge market to do that. Keep in mind, this is separate. Full self-driving is separate from the robotaxi discussion. Plays a role in it, obviously, because if you can develop truly autonomous driving technology, playing off the full self-driving technology, well, then you'd have the robotaxi, and they've said they were going to be unveiling that on August 8th, but no other details in terms of what does that mean when they say they're going to be unveiling it. And guys, I can't stress this enough. Even though the name is full self-driving, it is not autonomous. It is driver assist technology.
Until it isn't. But Phil's right, liability is still on the consumer when you engage the software. You have chosen now to be the driving instructor for FSD Supervise. But just like a human student driver, your AI student driver will too, in turn, no longer need supervision.
Stephen Engel, our Chief North Asia correspondent, joins us right now from the Beijing offices, in fact, of perhaps one of those competitors, Pony AI, which is already running robotaxi fleets in China with its partner Toyota. Steve, what can you tell us about this exercise and endeavor?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they've been doing these on-road testings. I'm talking about Pony AI for the last 6 years. In fact, they've been running actual real-time taxi services in this particular district, Yizhuang district, down in southern Beijing for the last year and a half. It's about 80 square kilometer area where you can hail.
80 square kilometers. Interesting. Seems a little bit limited, but you know, I guess it's a start.
A robo-taxi without a driver with your app, and then they will take you to your destination as long as it's within this 80 square kilometers. Now, in fact, or 60 square kilometers.
What? Now we've reduced the size to 60 square kilometers?
There's a bigger district where they're also doing the same thing down in Guangzhou. In Nansha district, it's some 800 square kilometers.
All right, now that's a little bit better. Still a limited region in which it must operate, and I imagine things need to be damn near perfect. This will be useful until Tesla renders it obsolete.
This is the particular latest generation model, the 6th generation model. It's a Toyota Sienna, and it looks like a normal Sienna from Toyota, but...
Does it though? I mean, the LiDAR and radar sensors seem to be baked into the vehicle. A little more seamless than what we have over here in the United States for sure. And even though we're in China and those sensors are probably cheap, no sensor would be even cheaper.
It is packed with the AI and the systems and software from Pony AI. There are, in this particular model, 11 cameras. As you can see, this is one of them on the side. This is a radar panel here as well. We can come to the front of the car and see also more of the technology. A couple of more cameras, as I said, there are 11 in total in this car. This is radar here, and up here is in this latest generation, more of an integrated LiDAR, radar, and camera system up on the top. Essentially, you hail the taxi on your app, it arrives without a driver, and you get in. If the cameraman can come with me this way, he asked me not to go too far, but essentially you get in, there's another screen in here where you put in your destination, you confirm your identity, and it takes you to where you want to go.
Cool.
So Pony AI is doing that. Who else in China is developing rival systems to the FSD?
No one? Maybe they're creating things similar to this Pony AI. But even if they were using cameras and neural nets only, there is no rival because no one has the fleet of vehicles that Tesla possesses.
Everyone, right? I mean, if Tesla is coming in with full force, I mean, essentially after the first quarter results, they said, if you believe that essentially EVs are the future, autonomous is even more so, and I'm paraphrasing. But again, you look at, I have the list of the other Chinese companies. They're the who's who of the EVs that we saw last week at the auto show. BYD is investing lots of money. Also, NIO has its NOP Plus system that they are developing. Xpeng has the city navigation guided pilot, NGP. It began trials in 2022, and no doubt the big tech companies that we saw there at the auto show, Xiaomi coming out with its first car, the SU7, it's going to be loaded as well with its driver assistance autonomous programs. I believe it's going to be available as of August, and Huawei has its ADS systems, and Huawei doesn't have a branded car, but they have multiple partners in manufacturing and technology and other car makers where it's Huawei inside. So they are without a doubt building out its autonomous driving capabilities that will go into cars. So there's lots and lots of competition, Elon Musk, here in the market. He sees it, but he believes obviously his FSD system is a game changer, as we heard yesterday from Dan Ives, the analyst, who says this is a game changer for Tesla. But he's going to have stiff competition. Let's face the fact.
Just like he faces stiff competition with the EVs. Wait a minute, he really doesn't. The Model Y was the best-selling vehicle on the planet. Competition, I guess you could use it loosely. Best bang for your buck, you get a Tesla. While there's going to be other players trying to get at this golden egg, to the layman, it may seem like this is up for grabs. But for what Tesla is trying to accomplish, a generalized autonomous solution, they learned early on that radar and LiDAR were only going to inhibit, gunk up the works, the neural nets, forcing it to unnecessarily compete with conflicting data. And while redundancy is all well and good, I look at it like a kid that has the training wheels attached to its bike for way too long. These other systems that use LiDAR, radar, that's the training wheels attached to their driving software. When you take the training wheels off, like Tesla has, you give it room to grow. You get the birth of FSD version 12 supervised.
Tom, good to see you. So I get conceptually why this is a big deal. The part that I don't get yet, maybe you can help me with, is how relevant is the existing U.S. data in training for Chinese full self-driving, or regionally is this completely separate training? Because I imagine, data you get training in Des Moines isn't going to be that great in New York City.
That's an interesting analogy. I have a Texas driver's license. I think I can go to Iowa, have a general understanding of what's going on there. Same goes for New York City, California, Florida, or anywhere else. Hell, I've even driven overseas. I don't even speak or read the languages over there, yet I have a general understanding that you probably shouldn't hit anything. Using context clues of the drivers around me, I can kind of exhibit behaviors that in the beginning may be less than optimal, but will improve over time. The same will be true for our AI student driver.
Yes and no. So what we've learned from FSD in the US is the highway driving is already as good as it's going to get. It's amazing.
Concur, but there's always room for improvement. It is pretty damn good though.
The difficult part is the urban environments. And what we've noticed from urban environments in China is that they actually are pretty similar to urban environments in the United States. And the other thing I would note is, remember, the Chinese, it's a central government authority that wants this to happen, that wants to have level 2+ and potentially more robotaxis, etc. So there is a more likelihood that we'll get to autonomy faster, actually, in China than will be in the U.S.
The race is on. Will North America be challenged by the Chinese FSD? The Shanghai plant is already the model plant for Tesla.
Looking out for investors, is there a kind of TikTok risk here for Tesla? Teslas are, driving around with cameras on them, sensors, looking at who's going where, how people drive. The argument could be made, I'm sure, from the Chinese government side, and probably has been made. It's why it took this long to get this kind of approval, that, boy, that's spy material if it's all getting sent to the U.S. So could this end up being a bargaining chip getting turned on and off in these periods of U.S.-China tensions, or is there enough benefit, social, societal benefit that China's getting that they're not going to want to do that?
This has been going on for a long time, where they didn't allow that data to go back to the U.S. for the, algorithmic learning. So clearly the reason why they accepted it now is there's a reason, and it's what you just pointed out. It's safety. FSD in the U.S. is 5 times safer than a regular car. Not 5% more, 5 times safer.
What? Are you telling me that the loss of life is greater than that of any kind of espionage that might be going on? I don't know, Tom. I think they're going to turn this thing off and on depending on how they feel about the United States. There won't be any outrage when people start dying from car crashes after they've achieved autonomy. Yeah, I guess they could just turn that revenue spigot off anytime they'd like.
They're looking for the greatest good to society. It's saving lives. It's definitely a huge utility that it does. So I think it's really them looking at what's the best thing for society, and it's saving lives, limiting accidents. That's really what's the driving force here.
We're watching the Magnificent Seven and so many other names. Of course, Mag 7 names are making headlines. For example, Tesla's the best performer in the S&P 500 with its full self-driving approval.
Wait. I thought they took Tesla out of the Mag 7? We're just popping it back in willy-nilly? No. It's not in the Magnificent Seven any longer. It's more of a Lone Ranger type stock, or Han Solo, if you will. There is no other stock like TSLA. The volatility, its impact. I'm on record with saying this will be the most valuable company in a decade's time. This ain't a Mag 7 situation any longer.
I've been saying the Tesla stock would keep going down unless and until Elon Musk pulled a rabbit out of a hat. He wasn't able to find that rabbit in time for the quarter, but he bagged a terrific one this weekend when he got permission to sell a subscription-based derivative of full self-driving for the Tesla in China, which gives him a whole new revenue stream, a big one. That can go a long way to restore price momentum after vicious price cutting in China. Just as important as how Musk got it. He made a surprise trip to China, met with Premier Li, and nailed down a deal with Baidu, the Google of China, that allows us to have the best maps available. This is unbelievable. And it's also a perfect example of the CEO redefining the narrative. There have been a feeling that Musk had gotten so, I don't know, they had so much going on that he hadn't been paying attention to Tesla.
Musk not paying attention to Tesla? Ridiculous. What planet have you been on? This man is able to multitask better than any other human on the planet.
Now here he is doing something no American CEO can do. Just get on a plane and make a deal with the leader of a country that our government isn't particularly fond of. But Hammer's the only other executive I can remember who could make a surprise trip to a hostile country and come back with an extremely lucrative deal. That said, it's not a magical elixir for Tesla. It's not full self-driving. Competition remains stiff. But let's face it, no one else can pull this off, which is why shareholders love the guy and bid the stock up so much, making fools of last week's downgraders. It's almost as if that Musk had leverage over the regime. Hey, maybe he does. Maybe they're just as dazzled by him as everyone else. Either way, it's made people a lot of money. Will Tesla the move have staying power? Look, plenty of people shorted the stock, betting that they could finally break the darn thing. They failed. The stock can keep running until the shorts are all crushed.
Shorting something as volatile as Tesla? It's not advised. I may sell a call or place a put, but I'll never be in a situation where my losses are absolutely infinite should Tesla soar to brand new heights, which it is poised to do. Long story short, there is no lifeguard on duty. Short Tesla at your own risk. In conclusion, as a boss, Elon Musk makes boss moves. Impromptu visit to China? No problem. I'll go ahead and close some deals, make sure the Chinese government allows my vehicles to be around government sites again, and get ready to unlock some hidden revenue from the cars that already exist in this country. Oh, by the way, everything that y'all have been thinking is autonomous driving is actually kind of a party trick. I got the real thing right here. And it seems like analysts are starting to grasp the idea that Tesla's FSD could be a real moneymaker. Tesla can't be the only game in fact, they're not the only game in town. Except they're the only game in town making actual headway when it comes to a generalized autonomous solution, which will inevitably render anything with LiDAR and radar obsolete. That's all I got for you today. Be easy. Peace.